You wanna smoke me? Do I look good to you? You know you like this. Come on. Just put me in your bowl. Or your bong. And just smoke me. Come on. You know you wanna smoke me. Oh, smoky. Smoky, smoky. Smoke me. Smoke me. Smoke me. Come on. Smoke me. You know you wanna smoke me. Smoke me. Smoke, smoke, smoke. Smoke me. Smoke me.
From seedlings in the ground, I start the race, nurturing the green in this peaceful space. Granny bubble gum and wing doodle see dub. Harvest time will come with a whole lot of love. Double dub and THCV growing strong and tall. Every morning check them one and all. Force ghosts rising to the hazy sky. In 75 days I'll be flying high. 75 days from pop to chop. Growing greens that'll never stop. Nancy's Own is the place to be. For the finest harvest, come and see. Gagging gas fills the air tonight. Under stars and the soft blue light. From seed to harvest in no time flat. A celebration of life, imagine that. Rain or shine, we grow with pride. In Nancy's garden we reside. Planters of the future, taking a stand. With a little patience, it's a dream so grand. 75 days from pop to chop. Growing greens that'll never stop. Nancy's Own is the place to be. For the finest harvest, come and see. To chop, growing greens that'll never stop. Nancy's Own is the place to be. For the finest harvest, come and see.
Oh shoot, I must have it on loop. Let me go check. We don't want to hear this song again, do we? Here, I'll do a different one. I'm not even sure you guys can even hear the music. Watch the green as it returns. Well, thank you all for coming and joining me this evening. Oh, nice, nice. Little boy. Hello, nice guy. Say hello. Hi, Nug. Hi. You see the people? They're in there. We'll be out to see the people next weekend at Irish Fest. We'll be going to Kansas City, Missouri for Irish Fest and the St. Patrick's Day Parade on Monday. Super exciting stuff. Nugs has never been in a parade before. I hope he likes it. Let me make sure that I turn the looping off so when this song ends we can get started. But I did go ahead and go in and make it public stream now. So if you want to go in and share it somewhere, uh, drop a love, a like, a share, I'd really appreciate it. I don't know why, but ever since I had problems with that hater, everything I do shows up only me, and I can't change the live until it actually goes live. So I can privately invite people to it, but I can't share it or do anything until it's actually started. But I would love for you to go and share it, because tonight we're going to do kind of an overview class, and a lot of people might need to hear it. Man, there's so many people in here. Hello, everyone. He does. He looks so much older now, a whole year old and everything. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Sherry. So awesome to see everybody in here tonight.
Harvest time will feel so right. In our hands, a future bright. In this garden, we unite.
I think the song's almost over. Well, hey, Jen.
In our hands, a future bright. In this garden, we unite.
There we go. That's the end of the song. All right, now we're just on the comments. Well, hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the show. It's not a regular learn and burn. I'm going to, I really had a struggle with technology when I did the free class up in Minnesota just a few weeks ago. And I wanted to redo that with better sound and hopefully less technical difficulty. Hi, Gerald. Hey, Troy. The budget grows here. Yes, Jen, I'm so looking forward to Irish Fest. I hope you'll be there. Oh, Sherry. Now I want to come back and smoke with you. I did have one small announcement to take care of before we get started, and that is the customer appreciation, the big spender last month for the amazing Cheech Bong. I couldn't figure out how to make my computer spit the report the way I did it the last time, where it would show each customer and the total of orders they had and the total they spent. So I had to just print out each one individually and go do the math and start adding them up. And it turns out that our big winner is not even on Facebook. Our big winner was Aaron W., and they came to us off of, what is the name of that app? Hold on, I'll figure it out. Reddit. They came to us off of Reddit, believe it or not. So I'm going to get a hold of them. I'm going to make sure that it's okay to send this to them, since they have no idea what we're doing. Hi, Monica. Hi, Art. Oh, thank you, Leonard. It's a nice bowl. It's a very nice bowl. But we do have 31 people in here already. A green angel, yes. I would love that. We'll be green angels together. But yeah, wow, Reddit. And so what I've discovered is that, and it did break it down for me between new and returning customers. Out of the top 10 people, 7 of them were new customers. So in order for me to appreciate the customers that have stuck with me for a while, I'm going to have to do something different besides big spender. I think for the month of March, we'll just put everybody who made any kind of an order, we'll just put all of those people onto a wheel. Or we'll give them all, I'll do the order numbers, and I'll put the order numbers into a random number generator and let it pick out an order number for me. I've done that before, and it worked pretty good. Jack Spartan in the house. Hey, Daniel, you're not late. We are just getting started. Yep, I'll be there, Susan. I'm working it out. Reddit is the shit. The porn will prove it's not Facebook. That's hilarious. You can place your order at nancysown.com, Leonard. There's a little scrolling thing at the bottom. And if you place your order during the show, it's an automatic buy one, get one. Dennis, Doc, James in the house. What's up, Doc? Sending you all the love and prayers. And if you need some more of that, let me know. I'm getting ready to work on some of that. Yep, there's the website right there, nancyzone.com. And if you head over there during the live stream, you'll get double whatever you order. And it won't be the exact same package twice. You'll get something in the same family, and it's dealer's choice on the doubles. But if you order one, you get two. You order two, you get four, so on and so forth. And I did just restock all of those Garlylocks poster packs, the Garlylocks crosses. So, there's no way to get the Return of the Windu poster anymore because the gagging gas has sold out. I have 8 strains of that, but the last one for the poster is sold out. Yes, it is so good to see you in here, Doc. I'm so happy. All right, well, I'm going to get this class started since we got so many people in here. I'm going to hit the go on the Growing Autoflowers overview. This will be available on YouTube. There's a few YouTube viewers in here already. If you should happen to want to watch this again later or share it with somebody who's not on Facebook, you can go over to YouTube and grab the link. All right, our introduction to autos starts with a brief history of autoflowering cannabis. So autoflowers are not that new, but they are new to the growing community. They've been around for quite a while in the northern hemisphere, but they've only been good to grow for probably about 12, 13 years or so. Before that, we only had basically a couple of strains. The most famous one was called Lowrider. Lowrider was really low THC. It was not a big plant, hence the name Lowrider. It stayed really short, really small, little buds. We're doing good, Eric. The breeding that went on over in Spain, like with companies like with Mephisto, really changed the autoflower game. They brought the much stronger photoperiods into the autoflowers and started making really nice strains. Some of my very favorites, the Double Grape, the Three Bears OG, are... Yep, Growing with Nancy is the YouTube name. Thank you, Susan. But a lot of people have come from Mephisto or from working closely with them and have done really good. Daz over there at Night Owl worked with Mephisto for a while. Oh, nice, Joe. Yeah, I absolutely give all the shout outs to Mephisto for being the goats and doing it the greatest to begin with. But now we have great autoflower strains, and we're able to incorporate more and more flavors from the photoperiods into the autos all the time. And now we're able to bring in some new cannabinoids that have been kind of bred out of our photoperiods. Over the years, they went for the highest THC possible at the sacrifice of all the other cannabinoids. So for a while, when we found out CBD doesn't get you high, they decided, well, then plants don't need CBD. Well, actually, they do. The entourage effect has now been proven to be a really, really cool thing. And we want to have a nice mix of different terpenes and different cannabinoids in order to get the most beneficial effects out of the plant. A few of the differences between autoflowers and photoperiod strains. The autoflowers pretty much have a set clock. Once you start them, you can't turn them off. They're going to tick right along until they're done. The better you grow them, the longer they take. So the harvest window on most autoflowers is anywhere between 60 and 85, 90 days. The reason for that is because you want to pick them while they're in their prime. Don't wait till they're almost dead. An older plant is going to look a little beat up. These plants that are in this picture right here are just perfect. That was a before harvest day picture that we took. In fact, that was right before defoliation day. And you'll notice that it's under a mix of lights. They're not the best. There's some Viper Spectra and some Mars Hydros up there. The lights were way high above the canopy. The plants still did amazing. Some of the advantages to growing or some of the differences, other differences between autos and photos are autos aren't really worth cloning because they're going to keep on flowering. Stress triggers flower early. They're really easy to stunt. But once you learn how to grow an autoflower and drive it and keep it thriving and growing, every other plant you grow will just be huge. Some of the best advantages of growing the autoflowers is that they are a very quick run. You don't have to invest as much time into them. You plant them in their final pot, so there's not a lot of transplanting to do. They can survive and do well without training. These plants in this picture don't even have a net. They are free balling. They are doing it all on their own. Thank you for all the tags, Rosebud. I really appreciate that. The Grimy Bubblegum is an awesome autoflower. It's a regular, so there are boys and girls in there. Doc says, since I'm in the rainy redwoods, I've not yet understood why it is both auto and photos grow perfectly outside, except when it gets cold. Yeah, so the autoflowers are perfectly adapted to grow indoors, outdoors, greenhouse, attic, basement, porch, window. They grow just about everywhere. They've gotten a lot tougher as time has gone by. The more strains that we breed into them, the better off they seem to get. And it only takes about 4 generations to bring a photo period into an autoflower. It only takes the one gene, the photosensitivity gene. I like silica with autos. I think that adding silica definitely helps with the strength of a plant, the thickness of the cell walls, helps it be bug resistant, mold resistant, and wind resistant. I love the whole silica, and it's great as a foliar spray. Even though it's a really high pH, it's a perfect foliar spray. I have seen a couple of other auto regulars, Gerald. They're just kind of few and far between. And I've managed to get a hold of them a couple of times. I've gotten a hold of one. One was called Titanic, and I crossed it with the Three Bears OG. Came up with a Titanic Three Bears. One of my favorite plants ever. It got me a 3rd place trophy, actually. And Sherry's right. Even when you stunt them, they can produce, pineapples or beer cans at the very less. Hi, Jamie. I'm liking the pork chop flower stack attack. I'm really liking that stuff. It's all natural. I have some right here. It's all natural. It's really easy to mix. It's 1 gallon per little vial. So if you're just mixing it for one plant, you use 1 vial and you put it into a gallon. Donnie, Daniel, as far as topping autos, sometimes it happens. You're bending over and you're reaching for something and you break the top off. That's when I end up topping autos. Most of the time, though, I just go and bend them over and keep that big top. Just try to run it sideways. You like it, Eric? Yeah, I do like the pork chops. It's easy to use. It's a great formula. Coupled with some worm castings, and you do really, really, really great. I don't know if this has the... it does have calcium and magnesium in it, along with some kelp, which is a plant growth regulator that helps, a natural plant growth regulator. So I absolutely love this throughout flower. Use it early and use it often. I would say throughout the entire flower stage so that you don't have CalMag deficiencies and end up with those brown spots. John is awesome. John is super awesome. Let's get to our next slide. So what's going to be important is choosing the right strain. And the factors you want to consider are how much space you have, it says yield, potency, size, and climate adaptability. So you want to know where you live, what your temperatures are going to be. Right now, we're going into spring. The clocks are about to change an hour, and everyone's going to think their timer's off or their lights didn't come on. Something's wrong with their lights. No, it's just daylight savings. So don't worry about that now. The factors you want to consider is how much space you have, how much vertical space, how much horizontal space, what your humidity is like. Can you control the temperature at all? Why are you barking at me during class? Do you want to come up here and tell people what's, come here. No? I think he just wants to go out. Give me 1 second. No, it's raining. He doesn't want to go out because it's raining. It's been raining here all day, and he's not into going out. Oh, and I just had somebody text me. Yes, I'm so sorry. That part is broken, and I cannot figure out how to fix it, but I will send you an extra pack. Sorry, just sending a message real quick. On the website, it says if you spend $100, you're supposed to get free shipping. And I thought I set it up correctly, but for whatever reason, it never does the free shipping. Yeah, Nugs is looking for screen time, Harold. And right now, he's looking to, he's full of something. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. All right, I'm going to let them know that I'm live right now, so maybe they won't text me a whole lot. Where am I? Yes. The factors to consider when choosing your genetics. Some of the strains are going to be very tall. Some are going to be very wide. You want to make sure that they're going to be good for your environment. If you have a really wet environment with a high humidity, you're going to want a thinner leafed variety of a plant, much like the ones that are in this picture that are a more sativa leaning hybrid. The fatter indica leaves tend to put out more moisture and cause more humidity problems. So it's better to go for a thinner leaf variety if you have a high humidity situation. If you have a lower humidity situation, it's better to go for a wider leaf variety. The size all depends on how much room you have. Goldilocks is a great beginner strain, but it gets large. So you have to be able to give it the space it needs. The double grape is a really, really good beginner strain that stays shorter and smaller. The grimy bubblegum is something that I would recommend everybody start with. Oh, good, Chad. I'm glad you got your package. The grimy bubblegum is one I would recommend everybody start with because there are both boys and girls in the package. And one of the largest questions that I see from people is this a boy or is this a girl? And if you've grown both side by side together, you'll never have a question again. You'll know exactly what boy parts look like, exactly what girl parts look like. And yes, Ben Grimy lives on in the grimy bubblegums. It's also a tribute strain to an amazing man who is no longer with us, but worked very, very, very hard on the farm. And I could not have done it without him. He was a great, great guy. Let me hit this go button and see if... So the first stage you're going to hit after you've selected your seeds, the next thing you have to do is get them germinated. There's a lot of germination techniques. There's a paper towel method. There's direct to soil method. There's the shot glass method. There's a root riot cube method. I do have a video on YouTube that shows the most popular methods and a little demonstration of each one. If you're having trouble with one of those methods, I would suggest you try a different method because sometimes it's just your environment that's making it harder for you. But a lot of times it's temperature and humidity and oxygen. If they have no oxygen, then they will not. They can't sprout. Oh, thank you, Sherry. I'm looking forward to it. Man, you came in close. There were 5 people that had second place, and you were one of them on this bong. The Baby Yoda Sedank, SDANK. The Baby Yoda Sedank is it's around a 3 to 4 foot tall plant at a maximum. it's not going to go straight for the ceiling. But any of these plants, if you grow them too well, have the opportunity to be 6 foot tall. 5 to 6 foot tall is not unheard of. Uh, and if they're stunted, overwatered, don't get enough light, they can end up being much smaller. Yes, PJ. Patricia Danner says, don't forget her hydrogen peroxide. When you are, if you're having trouble with popping your seeds, make sure you use some hydrogen peroxide in the water and try to kill off any little microbial things that might be around them. A lot of times you can put your seeds into a paper towel or a napkin and stick them in a little baggie, and you come back in a couple of days and you see all these weird colored spots on the napkin. That's all fungus and bacteria that's growing there. And most of it, unless you added it yourself, is not beneficial. You're going to want to consider the growing medium that you're using. The best growing medium is going to be a very lightweight and airy soil with lots of perlite or pumice or lava rock. Cocoa is well draining, so it works really well too. You can use organics, you can use hydroponics, you can use synthetics, you can use a blend, a hybrid blend of both organics and synthetics. You just have to be careful which ones you use. Yep, germinating in a shot glass with a little hydrogen peroxide and water works perfectly. And Dale's right, straight into the pot. Don't put them too deep. But straight into the pot is probably the very best way. Let them be born where they will be dying. Oh, I'm glad you're liking that green rush. So if you've got a really, really lightly aerated soil and it's really fluffy, you don't pack it into the pot at all. You can pour it into the pot, give it a couple of taps, and that's it. You don't have to pack it in at all. Over time, it will start to pack itself a little bit. And there are some things that you can do about that. Earthworms is one of those things. If you're in an organic situation, you can add a bunch of worms, little red wigglers, and they'll help keep the soil tilled up for you. Come here. He's just crying and crying down here. He thinks I'm talking to somebody, but he doesn't know who. Yeah, I would go 1/16 of an inch. A ½ inch is the very, very deepest I would go. Yeah, I just make a little dent in the soil and put the seed on there and then just barely cover it up with loose soil. The looser, the better. And if you do go too deep and your soil is too wet, there's a good chance that microbial stuff will happen and they'll end up eating your seed before it can get to the top. The best way to keep your seedlings alive, though, is with proper watering practices. You want to start with a soil that's already moist but is not wet. So if you grab that soil and you squeeze it as hard as you can, there should not be one drop of water that you can squeeze out of it. But when you let go, it should stay into a fully formed ball. But if you poke it with your finger, it should fall apart completely. So there's a lot of different tests, moisture meters, things like that. What you just want to make sure that your soil is not too wet, because if it's too wet, there's not enough oxygen. The little guys drown really quick. And the ones that do make it will be stunted. And in fact, in this picture, that soil looks a little too wet. And at that point, I would just not water it until the soil dries out. It'll still be wet deeper. The top can dry out and make the roots search for the water. You want to have the roots searching for water, and you want to have the branches searching for light. Oh, Mythic is a cool guy. Yep, I like that too, William. You can use a little humidity dome on top of your seedlings if you're in a really dry climate, but just be careful to know that they will get used to that, and they'll have, it can be a bit of a shock when you take the dome away. So you'll want to wean them off of it gradually by lifting the cup up for a few hours at a time each day until they get used to your real humidity that's in your house. Watering on a seedling, never water right next to the seedling. You want to do a circle around the outside of it, and you don't ever want to fully water the pot. Even though we start autoflowers in a big pot, like a 7-gallon pot, start them with damp soil and then don't water them until the soil feels light again. And if you do have to water them, just small amounts in a ring around them. That'll make the roots chase the water. Hey, Deca AI's here. Yep, real shit. We spit real shit tonight. Requirements for the vegetative stage. The growth timeline for your vegetative stage for autoflowers is 2 to 4 weeks. Now, the seedling stage takes up the first 2 weeks, and you'll be kind of disappointed because you won't see a lot happening at that time. They don't get really tall, not, their leaves get a little bigger, and they seem to be going really slow. That's because they're trying to establish a root system. Once they've established a root system, they're going to go straight into vegetative stage. That's when they're going to need to, if you are not already feeding, if you're not already have some sort of food in the soil for them, they're going to need to start eating their baby food, their baby formula. Ideal lighting schedule is going to be 18-6, 24, or 24 on. Autoflowers can handle that 24 hours on light, and definitely through the vegetative cycle. Sometimes toward the end, a mid-end, and I think Organigrow is having this issue. Sometimes toward the mid or the end of the flower cycle, the plants can start to get like really yellow and burnt looking. Just cut yourself back to 18-6 and lower the intensity a little bit, and that will help a lot with that. The nutrient needs of autoflowers are generally very low. There are a few strains that will eat. The double grapes are ones that do like to eat. The double Durban that I came out with not too long ago, though, the THCV strain, it doesn't like to eat at all. You can't feed it nothing. The part about the transplant shock, I never get transplant shock. But that's from lots and lots of practice. And a lot of you won't get it either. As long as you can start them in a deep, I wouldn't start in a solo cup or the little 1 pint containers. I would start in like a big gulp cup, in a deep cup, so that they can stay in there for a little while before you have to transplant them over. But it's really a time issue as far as when they're going to start flowering. If they're under a lot of stress, they'll start flowering earlier. If they're in a vegetative state where they're really growing lots and lots of branches and getting taller, then the flowering will be delayed a little bit. This is one that's just barely starting to pre-flower. And I'm not exactly sure how long this one runs. Come here. He wants to play chase me on the floor. Yeah, these plants are just starting to flower. They're at the end of their vegetative phase, and they're starting to get a good amount of food. Greenomatic. Yeah, Rory, there are a lot that will work in 60 days. They're generally the much smaller plants. Oh, I don't know how long this is going to be before it goes over to the next. Where's my next slide? Oh, I don't get it. Okay, there's the next slide. Your flowering stage and bud development. This is a really important stage. And what you'll notice is that when they're going and, they start to bud, you think, oh, that's it, they're over. No, they're going to get a whole lot bigger even while they're budding. Autoflowers don't just stop growing because they've gone into bud. They continue to stretch a little bit longer than photoperiods usually do. So you're going to start to see little pre-flowers that look like these somewhere around week 3 or 4, maybe week 5 if you're in a heavy growth. And at that point is when it's time to go ahead and adjust your nutrients, increase the phosphorus and potassium, reduce the nitrogen intake, and get ready for budding, which means to make sure you have dehumidifiers, make sure you have extra fans, make sure you have exhaust going. There's no need to adjust your light cycle because you're already at 18, 20 or 24 hours of light, but you do want to up your intensity a little bit at this point. Maintain the intensity. Yes, they do keep growing. They do. Oh, the Oreo head is nice. Oh, I'm sorry, Rose. I'm sorry. And I'm having trouble inviting people. So hopefully people who are in here are able to share, like, and invite and get some, let the spread the word, because I know I'm kind of shadow banned and all of that. Once you've started your flowering stage, you want to make sure you go ahead and add that extra CalMag as well. That's going to help to prevent some of that problems with the brown spots and the yellow leaves later on. And a great low dose source of that CalMag is going to be found here in this Pork Chops Flower Stack Attack. So take advantage of something like that and make sure that you're getting them on. So Rachel, some of these comments are on different Facebook pages and some of them are actually on YouTube. I've only got the one group now, Rose, and I'll try to make sure that I have my alternate character send you an invitation to it, because I'm no longer an admin. When I get in trouble, then my groups get in trouble. So I'm just a member. I'm not anything special in the Grow 420 Meds group anymore. Once in the beginning of your flower stage and your beginning bud development, this is when you're going to want to go ahead and go in there and do a little cleanup on the very bottom of the canopy. You're going to want to give yourself 6 to 8 inches from the soil to the bottom of the foliage. Just clean it up in there so that the fan can get in there and blow good, and you don't have any leaves that are touching the dirt. Go ahead and take out the little tiny bud sites that are at the very bottom or on the very bottom branches for the first few inches so that you can clean it up under there. Let me see what the next slide is supposed to say. We've missed a slide, though. We should have had a bud development slide. I suck at this technological stuff. Absolutely suck at it. All of these buds that you see here in this picture are very, very close to being finished. Once you start to see the frost come on and they start to get thick, that's when you want to keep a really good eye on them. Now you want to lower the light intensity some. You don't have to lower the amount of hours, but you want to lower the intensity. You want your light intensity to be kind of a bell curve. When it's little, you want less intense light. When it's in vegetative growth in the beginning of flowering, you want really the highest intensity light right at the beginning of flower. And then as it goes through the flowering, you want to taper it off a little bit again. So your lighting amount should look kind of like a bell curve. There are some risks with letting your plants go longer. If you let your plants go too long, they can go through something called rhodolization, which is self-pollination. It's a last-ditch preservation effort. And all cannabis plants have the ability to go through that rhodolization, where they start to grow some male flowers if they're a female plant, or female flowers if they're a male plant. Male plants can also be flipped back to the other sex. It's just a hormonal change. It's the equivalent of old ladies growing hairs on their chin. It's a hormonal thing. So the same thing happens in the plant. It's a hormonal thing. When you get to the point where you want to know if it's time to harvest, you're going to have to look at the whole structure of the plant. The pistils, which are the little hairs, if you still have straight white hairs coming out, you probably don't want to harvest yet. But those hairs come in waves. You want to harvest on the second wave of hairs. You'll have one wave of hairs that comes out that retracts. They start to curl up and change color. And after that, you'll see brand new white hairs. When that second set of white hairs is starting to fade and retract, go ahead and chop. Don't wait for the third or fourth set of white hairs, because then you're definitely pushing the bounds on some rhodolization, and you'll also have a much sleepier bud that way. But if you're looking for a heavy narcotic type effective bud, just let them go as long as you possibly can stand it. But just watch out for rot, molds, issues with that. Yeah, that happens, Scott. You let it go too long and it will produce seeds. But it doesn't die when it's done. You were picking buds, not flowers. So think of it like a rose. You're going to pick that bud before the flower actually opens. And all flowers go through a budding stage and then a ripening stage. You don't want to pick these when they're overly ripe, just like anything else. You don't want to pick overly ripe fruits or vegetables either. They turn out mushy and nasty. And the same thing happens with these plants is they will start to break down and get molds and issues. Oh, good. That's perfect. Yes, Jack, you can take your autoflower harvest in chunks. You can take the big top buds off and you can wait on those little bit lowers. Just make sure that you raise them up a little bit. You want to harvest when all of your trichome heads are fully filled up because they're like little balloons and they'll start out small and they'll get bigger and bigger and bigger. You want to, when they're fully filled and milky white. Once those trichome heads start to do this, the top starts to bend over on them, then you are right at the line where they're going to fall off. So if they're starting to bend over and they look bent at the neck, it's time to take them down. Yes, no nanners, no nanners. Hi, Jeffrey. Let me see what's on this last slide. We are missing a slide. All right. Common mistakes and troubleshooting tips. Overwatering and nutrient burn is the number one common mistake. Giving it too much water and then giving it too much nutrients. Just remember, love is not liquid and plants eat light. So if you want to give them a little something else to eat, you want to give them a treat, something special, try give them a little sunlight once in a while. Some UV rays do wonders for the babies. The poor training techniques can also screw up your yield. If you start to top and train when they're very young, try to do manifolding, a lot of times, if you're not just spot on with that, you can stunt the growth at that point. Pests and diseases, huge problems. Lots of people have all kinds of microscopic little bugs that they don't even know of. In fact, that when your seedling comes up and the bottom of it turns brown and it just falls over like that, it's called dampening off, and that comes from a microorganism called Pythium. But you can get microorganisms from the very beginning all the way to the very end. In the end, when you open a bud and you see that it has like gray fuzzy stuff inside, that is, well, the brown one's botrytis. What was the gray one called? I can't remember, but hence it to say lots of things are living on and in you, and lots of things can live on and in your cannabis plant. You just want to make sure that they're healthy and beneficial. One of the most common pests is the russet mite, and you cannot see it with a loupe. You're going to need a better scope. You're going to need something like this that is either wireless or plugs in, that has at least 100 times magnification to see the smaller bugs. The powdery mildew is very easy to pass around. It's kind of like the herpes of the plant world. You don't see it on every plant, but if it's got it, it'll have an outbreak eventually, and generally that's when it's in the flower cycle. If you do have powdery mildew on a plant, it's in there. You're not going to be able to get rid of it. The best you can do is suppress it. Don't take clones from it. Don't carry it on. Don't keep it in front of a fan and have it blow those spores all over everything else you own. Any plants with powdery mildew need to be isolated, removed, treated. You can finish them, but don't run them again. Russets are a nightmare, and any plant that you suspect of having russets, if you can't see them because you don't have the right kind of microscope, one of the ways that you can test is to rub a leaf between your fingers like this. A healthy leaf is going to be dry and scratchy, and it'll only rub good one way. The russet mite turns that leaf to feeling like silicone. So it'll be rubbery feeling and maybe just a little bit damp. If your leaves feel rubbery and a little bit dampish, then you need to check them with the scope. And the PM can travel by spores. It can live in your room. It can be on your clothes. It gets poured around everywhere. Oh, I'm glad you like that flower stack attack, Rose. The stress factors. There are a lot of stress factors that go into cannabis. And a lot of times people are like, I want to stress it. I want to stress it. I want to stress it because you can generally get higher THC and more trichomes by stressing a plant. But that doesn't mean you stress it from the beginning. You want to stress it when it's closer to the end. So when it's closer to the end, start taking stuff away. Take away some of the light, lower the temperatures is one stressor. I'm not a big fan of a lot of manipulation. I like the scrog net where you just kind of lay the branch underneath it. If, in absence of a scrog net in a smaller space, I just snap the main stem and let the branch lay down. It'll stand right back up. Getting your bricks number up helps a lot. So that's when you're going to add some molasses, some sugars to the soil, and that will feed the microorganisms. If you're in a hydroponic system, it works a little. There's one called Terra Grow, Terra Grow. It's meant for hydroponic systems, and it is a powdered molasses and microbe blend that can help bring your bricks up in hydroponics. Hey, Pete, you're doing good. Yeah, I'm glad you're still bug free, Jeff. And it's important to check for bugs. I like inspection Mondays. Every Monday, go inspect your plants. Look under the leaves, look on top of the leaves, look for any different discoloration, spots, curling, uh, drooping. I like Orca, but if you're going to use Orca, you should use it with Great White. So if you're going to use the one, you need to use the other. Don't add only fungus or only bacteria because it'll throw your pH way off. You need a blend, a fungally dominant blend of fungus and bacteria in order to keep your pH in the right range. If you have tons and tons of bacteria, your pH is just going to keep diving and going down. And you're like, why does my pH keep going down? That's because you have a lot of bacteria in your soil. If you have a lot of fungus in your soil, your pH will continue to rise. You'll be like, well, I can't keep my pH from going up. It's because you're fungally overrun and you don't have any bacteria to help balance it. PMI regimen, I think maybe you mean IPM. IPM stands for Integrated Pest Management, and it can be everything from washing your hands and changing your shoes before going into your grow. It can be best practices of keeping your tools clean, having good airflow, all the way up to using beneficial insects and pesticides. Although I don't agree with pesticides. I don't like the pesticides at all. Yeah, Alex Jordan over there at Mythic has got some really nice strains. He definitely does. But you do want to watch out for either the common mistakes. Most common is overwatering, high stress training, putting too much stress on them, catching some pest or disease, and then having just too much stress. And one of the biggest stress factors late in a plant's life is too much light. When she's gotten old and she's swelled up, and you've pulled off most of the big fan leaves, that's not a time where you can add a whole lot of light. So by then, you should be turning your light down. Decreasing the number of hours and decreasing the intensity toward the end of the plant's life will greatly help reduce some of her stress in the end. Hey, Jean, no problem. We've got this on YouTube, and you can go back and watch the whole thing over again. And we're going to do a little burn and Q&A session right here at the end here. I think we are pretty much at the end, except we have this beautiful, beautiful lady to show. That's a double grape autoflower right there from the world record round. Getting high THC, the secret to that was having a lower THC. Or I'm sorry, not a lower THC. To have a higher THC meant having a lower nitrogen level throughout the plant's life. Nitrogen is a THC antagonist. So the more nitrogen that you have throughout the grow, and that's why they take it out completely at the end. But I believe that it starts early. I believe that whole nitrogen dependency can start as a very young plant. So I tend to run things a little on the yellow side all the way through, and that's how you can get much higher numbers. It doesn't give you a higher yield. If you want a higher yield, you're going to want to use more nitrogen. Nice, Rory, nice. Thank you, Michelle. I'm so glad you were here tonight. Let me go to here. There we go. Yeah, and that was a quick one. I mean, it took us 50 minutes to go through it. And I know this camera sucks. My good camera petered out on me and keeps saying that it's unplugged when it's not unplugged and all of that great stuff. But I do want to know if anybody's got any questions. Hey, Alan, I'm sorry. We just went through and did a little video. And now we're going to play a song and let people gather up some questions. I'm going to roll a joint. If you got them, spark them. If you need to roll one, go ahead and roll one up. This is the last of the weed that I got from, or cannabis that I got from Mendo. And these are my songs that I made with the AI, so hopefully that won't get any flags for these songs. Oh, good luck, Gene. Hey, Daryl Shoup, you're in Alaska. Howdy from Alaska. Alaska's been able, people in Alaska have been able to grow since I was a kid. And I learned a lot up there when I was young. An awful lot from the home growers up there. Yeah, Alan, or you can check it out on YouTube. I love getting YouTube views and comments over on the YouTube. Any comments that are on the YouTube during the live stream disappear at the end of the live stream. Yes, at 61 days, you can go ahead and back off on your nutrients, continue your flower stack attack, but don't give anything else that has nitrogen. And you can keep going with the molasses all the way until the very last day. Well, thank you, Jack. I'm glad you learned something tonight. And that's always the goal, is to, pass on the knowledge. And I mean, I'm not going to have $1 million to leave to anybody in a will. So I'm going to try to leave $1 million worth of knowledge out there on the internet before I go. Florida hippie dude. I like that. I go to Florida from time to time. Next week, though, I will be in Kansas City, Missouri, checking on the Irish Fest and the St. Patrick's Day Parade. I think it's going to be really cool. I've been in a parade before, but I've never been in a parade on a cannabis float before. So that'll be a first for me, and it will be Nugs' first parade. So I really hope he enjoys the parade. Yes, Matt, keep using your molasses even with the flower stack attack. There are all sorts of good little microbes in that flower stack that could use the extra boost of food. Yeah, knowledge is the most power. So share it if you've got it. And don't take this as gospel. Everybody's space is different. You can stop the big bloom towards the end of budding. Yes, absolutely. And I would only add those big boosters on an autoflower plant up until week 5 or 6, and then I would give it up. Yeah, come out to the KC Irish Fest. So I'll actually be out there for a couple of days. So if you just come out there on the weekend, you can hit me up. No, that is 61 days from birth with an autoflower, for sure, Gene. The autoflowers live about 75 to 80 days, and you could quit at 60 days easily and give them a little time to fade out. You want to see those leaves fade out. If they're a really dark green plant when you pick it, it's going to have a lot of chlorophyll in it and be a much harsher smoke than if you let it fade out. And sometimes the fades are really pretty pinks and purples and yellows. Hi, Daniel. Yes, help everybody. Yep, unsulfured molasses, but sulfur as a an element is very good to add, especially if you're trying to grow the gassier, skunkier terps. In fact, the terpenes that make up skunk do not even happen unless you have enough sulfur in your medium. You can buy wettable sulfur, powdered sulfur, and use it also around as a pesticide. You can sprinkle it around and it keeps bugs away, and you can add it to your soil for skunkier terps. Oh, congratulations, Rory. I'm glad your train wreck has started to flower for you. The last strains that I released on the new drop were the leprechaun leaf, the four-leaf clover, the four-tailed skunk, and there's one more. I forget what comes after four-tailed skunk. Gnomish skunk. So the four-tailed skunk and the gnomish skunk are both THCV skunk crosses. The THCV is that get up and go cannabinoid, the one that the get shit done weed, the one that makes you want to clean your house. Oh, hi Joe. Man, the double grape is always going to have a super special place in my heart. Super special place in my heart. The next round that I'm doing, though, when we start the Learn and Burn again here in a couple of weeks, I'm redoing the room now. It's going to be photos and fast photos. So people want to check out the photos and the fast photos. I don't only grow autos. Banana water for bloom. You can do a banana tea. You're going to want to let it sit for a little while, though, to get as much of the potassium out of it as possible. And I like to do ferments instead of like banana water. I'd rather you see that you do a banana ferment and use the whole entire banana and make sure that you leave it in there until it gets all bubbly and nasty and you think that it's time to throw it away. That's when it's time to put it on the plant. You can't grow fast enough. Garlylocks is still Garlylocks has to be my favorite on the website for versatility, for flavor, for size, for ease. It's an amazing, amazing strain that actually does have a lot of that garlic undertone. People are never disappointed with Garlylocks. And she has 9 amazing crosses that are out there on the website. I like the Dr. Manhattan, and I like the Windu Dosimo is one of my favorite ones. But there are 9 amazing Garlylock crosses that you can find on the website right now. I just restocked them all. There are a lot of good things that you can find just right where you live. I used to live next to an alfalfa field, and so I made lots of alfalfa teas for my plants. Yeah, the Garlylocks has massive potential as a plant. But right now, I think the website record is 622 grams on a triple-double dosey G by Will Enos. I'm getting ready to send him out some more beans. He wants to get some of the THCV. Yeah, that's right, Roy. Use the whole banana. It's not just about the peels. Although I've heard that if you smoke the peels, you can get some psychedelic effects, but I don't know if that's really true. That was on a High Times when I was real young. The four-leaf clover is my favorite one to smoke right now. It's full of sesquiterpenes. It holds its flavor forever. You can smoke a half a joint now and a half a joint tomorrow, and it tastes like you just rolled it. The flavors are absolutely amazing on that. The frost warning, though, it's so sticky that I got pissed off when I was trimming it, and I don't like to roll it. I don't like to roll joints of it because my hands get so sticky. I can't roll with the paper. I just rolled one just now, but not of that. This is the Mendo's. This is some Hetty OG that I'm rolled up with some of this strawberry cough live rosin, cold cure live rosin. The good stuff from Apothecary. Where was I? What was I saying? Train, out of the station. My whole train of thought just went out of the station. Oh, I was talking about the four-leaf clover. So the four-leaf clover makes me mad because it is such a frosty, sticky little plant. It kills grinders. So if you try to use a grinder, it kills your grinder right away, and then the grinder doesn't turn, and you're all mad. If you try to break it up with your fingers, there's more of it on your fingers than there is on the tray. So you end up doing this number a whole lot, and then you can't even roll with the paper because everything gets stuck to you. Oh, thank you, Roy. Thank you very much, Roy. Come back and see us again. All right, I'll make sure I throw something special in there for you. All right, Daniel's going to tell us how. You can smoke the peel. You got to scrape and bake the inside part and then smoke it. Aha, aha. Yeah, the CRS. I got hit with the CRS real hard just now. But thank you all for being here. 43 people hanging in. If anybody has a grow question, now's a good time to throw it up there. We've got about 15 minutes left to the show. I filled this up with a bunch of dabs. I don't know if you can see how wet this is inside. Michelle, I was so happy to have you come over and meet us. Definitely anytime, hit me up. And you can go back and watch it on YouTube if you like and just have it playing in the back. Yeah, that massive bowl is going with me next weekend to the Irish Fest. We'll have it. Well, I'll have it for demonstration purposes only, I guess. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where the Irish Fest is being held, if we have to go outside to smoke or what's going to be going on with that. A good soil that doesn't have bugs in it. I like paonia. I like paonia soil a lot. It's really hard to find, and they don't sell to individuals. They only sell to grow stores. So if your grow store doesn't carry it, it's really hard to get. The other soils that I like are Bio 365 is good. It's a little bit heavy. I suggest that you add pumice or perlite to it to lighten it up a little bit. And sometimes that bioflower comes a little bit hot in food. So it's better to use a little pocket of something like a seed starter mix or a pro mix to put your seedlings in. Homemade soil is the best. Yeah, gnats come in a lot of them, and gnats aren't as big a problem. They're more gnats come into your house on bananas and fruits and vegetables. It's a fungus gnat and a fruit fly are the exact same critter. Oh, those are the Jeff Lowenfels books are absolutely amazing. The Teaming With series, if you can look those up, you'll learn a bunch. And also look up Dr. Elaine Ingham, Ingham, and she's the Soil Food Web lady. And you will find all kinds of wonderful information spilling out of her. Yeah, find a good grocery store. Make sure that the soil that you buy has been stored inside the whole time, and you'll do much, much, much better than buying soil from outside on the yard at Walmart. Mother Earth has a good one. Gaia Green is a good one. Yeah, I build a soil or I buy a soil and then I reuse and amend. The no-till living soil amendment video is also up on YouTube that you can go look at, where I just smack a screwdriver in there, wallow it around, make myself a nice cone-shaped hole, fill it up with amendments, top it with about 1 inch of fresh soil, and then just water that for a week or two. Normally when I see the mushrooms start popping out of it, that's when I know it's good to go and ready to plant in. This time around, I'm going to be using a cover crop from the Grow Fam, growfam.com. Definitely go check them out. They have amazing products. They have some wonderful photo period strains, lots of good seeds. I got seeds from them not only for my cover crop, but I got broccoli seeds. I got dill seeds. I got sunflower seeds. I got a bunch of great seeds from the Grow Fam. Cilantro. Some of this I'll be growing right along with the plants, right in the same pot with them. The plants are not, they're not loners. They don't need to live alone. You can actually put 2 or 3 cannabis plants in the same pot. You'll get a shorter plant sometimes by doing it that way. But it's okay. You get the same amount of plant mass as you would if you'd only had one. Build a soil I have to stay away from because it doesn't pass testing in some states. It has a little too much heavy metals in it. But I used to be all build a soil. Yeah, just be careful shopping at Walmart. Don't do, get it early in the year. Don't wait till late in the year. Late in the year, all the soil's already full of bugs. And yes, don't do a pH range. Don't be stuck on my pH has to be 5.8 or my pH has to be 6.2 or whatever magical number you've got in your head. You'll want to do a range, especially if your pH is swinging. If you already are microbially dominant and your pH keeps going down, then start with a higher pH. Start it at 7.5 and let it go down to 5.5 and then start over again. If your pH is already really high, then start lower. Start with a 5.5 and let it raise up to 7.5. But different nutrients are available at different pH ranges, so there's not a perfect pH for everything. You do want to do a little swing, and if you build your soil correctly, you'll have areas of the soil that are higher pH and lower pH based on what kind of critters are living there. Yeah, wait till they have a fresh stack. When they've got fresh soil coming in, it fluctuates. pH will definitely fluctuate. Thank you, everybody who come in and hung out with me tonight. I don't know if I'm going to be here. Let me find us another. Don't know that I'm Saturday because I will be at the Irish Fest. But you can look forward to me doing some sort of a video next weekend because there's an issue that I want to address. I don't know how you would call it. I have a lot of friends in the cannabis community, and when one of them says something about another one, and I have direct knowledge about it, and it turns out to be inaccurate, then I'm probably going to go around to all the parties involved and do my due diligence and get accurate statements from each one. And then I'll go to whoever made those inaccurate statements and ask them to to rescind those statements or at least take down their bashing video. But I've said too much already. And it's not a bashing thing. It's just that not all cannabis personalities get along together. And I don't like personalities. I like persons. If you're a real person that acts the same way at the grocery store as you do on YouTube or Facebook, then I'm down with that. Because I don't have a person. I have a hat. I put on the hat. I don't have a personality to put on. I just have a hat to cover my ugly hair. And I don't want to comb because I'm a hippie. And if I need to be sensational, I'll show everybody my armpits on TV. That's my sensationalism. I've grown a lot of mids. Mids are the middle buds, right? There's lowers, there's mids, and then there's colas. I grow lots of mids. Every plant has mids on it. There you go, Alan. Yes, show them the smaller bags that are inside. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yeah, I can't deal with it's not about being a bully. It's just if the information is incorrect, then it should be corrected. That's all. Thank you all so much for coming, and I will see you 2 weeks from now for the new start of the new Learn and Burn, and our new Learn and Burn is going to be fast photos and photo periods. I'll still answer all your autoflower questions and needs, but we're going to showcase some of the photo periods that we have on the website. And I've got a couple of photo period projects to work from other breeders that want to get their strains over into some autoflower genetics. So stay tuned for the big announcement on who I might be working with the photos. And yes, Spence is going to send me something. I have 2 Spencer beans already, and I'm going to ask maybe his permission to throw a couple of those into a small autoflower round that's starting here in a few more weeks. But have a good night. Everybody stay happy, keep growing, If you have any questions, never hesitate to hit me up. I'm just a regular person. I'm like this everywhere. So don't ever hesitate to go ahead and get a hold of me. I'm not too good to talk to nobody. Have a good night.